The colonists victorious. The end of the Revolution and the Treaty of Paris of 1783. After being forced out of New England in March of 1776 and out of Pennsylvania in June of 1778, the English made a decision to take the war to the south. There had certainly been no support for them in New England, and only a little bit more in the middle colonies. So the English believed that there was more support for them in the southern colonies because many Southerners saw themselves as transplanted English noblemen who lived a life of relative luxury, thanks in large part to their slaves. The issue of slavery is one of the great inconsistencies of the American Revolution. For whites, it was a war for independence and freedom, but for slaves, it represented almost no change at all in their status. In fact, it was the English who promised freedom to slaves if they enlisted in their army and worked to put down the rebellion. Over the course of the war, almost 100,000 slaves ran away from their plantations and wore emblems that bore the phrase "Liberty to Slaves" on their uniforms. Unfortunately for the English, this decision to arm slaves led more Southerners and potential English supporters to join the cause of independence. After a series of battles in the Carolinas, the English leader, Lord Cornwallis, backed himself onto a peninsula in Virginia, hoping to be resupplied and gain reinforcements. Again, this should not have been a problem for the English with their navy, which was considered by many to be the strongest in the world. But the Continental Army had an alliance with the number 2 navy in the world, the French, and in one of the few naval battles of the Revolution, the French were able to chase away an English fleet just off the coast of Virginia, which cut off Cornwallis's escape by sea. This gave Washington the opportunity he had hoped for. He snuck away from New York City and moved with the French army leader, the Comte de Rochambeau, to join another Frenchman, the Marquis de Lafayette, in Virginia to prevent Cornwallis's land escape. The group surrounded the city and laid siege to it for almost a month before Cornwallis saw no chance for escape and made the decision to surrender on October 19, 1781. This surrender represented the bulk of the English fighting force in America and brought an end to the military aspect of the American Revolution. Representatives from the United States and England met in Paris in 1783 to discuss the terms of peace. The most important thing as far as the United States was concerned was that England would recognize them as an independent nation. This became the first part of the Treaty of Paris of 1783 that ended the American Revolution. The United States also gained all of the land between the Appalachian Mountains and the Mississippi River, which had provided perhaps the first cause in the move toward independence, as the colonists were angry that they could not settle there after the French and Indian War. There were other provisions that allowed for fishing rights off Newfoundland and free navigation of the Mississippi River for both the English and the Americans. But everything that the Sons of Liberty had worked for starting in the 1760s was now a reality for the new United States of America.